Hey guys, so I guess a very, very serious story going around social media, football news media about Mikhailo Mudryk, Chelsea winger, failing a doping test. Now, I was wondering whether to react to this because it's a serious allegation and it's very early in its embryonic phase of being reported. Loads of you guys messaged me on social media about it. Obviously, it's gone around social media, people are posting about it. And now it's on like major news sites like OneFootball or other websites as well, referencing the source. I'm gonna react to it as requested by you guys, but I want to be very, very mindful with this stuff. Like, obviously, when, for example, in the summer we reacted to the Enzo Fernandez situation, that wasn't allegations, that was a situation. It was very, very serious, and we had to navigate it very mindfully, which we did. And, thankfully, there didn't seem to be an irreparable rift caused in the Chelsea squad between Fernandez and the French players and whatever, and it seems like that's all okay now. Chelsea are doing well. Now I'm gonna read off OneFootball.com for this particular story, but early doors, very, very early doors, we need to be mindful here that I am not, like always, guys. I never am a source of information. Never. I never have been. I've never once, pretended I've had an exclusive that I'm reporting something that I've heard. And I do get told stuff as well, but I've just made an early decision, very early on in my YouTube career, that I would never, pertain to having knowledge. Even if someone's messaged me something that has a link in that becomes true, I just made that decision very early on that I'm going to be the Chelsea fan, like you, that we react to what we read, and I'm giving my commentary to what's already in the media. And I found it's worked for me, and life has been much easier. So we need to very, very early on be mindful that these are just an allegation from a Ukrainian source, Bowl accounts, that we're going to get into. I'm going to read. It could be nonsense, and if it is, this should all be forgotten. Even if it isn't nonsense, we need to be very careful with what we, how we react to the player and stuff, because this is a guy who's had difficulty in the league, country, and there's a lot going on in his life. He's got this sort of really relentlessly driven mindset, Mudryk, which is why maybe perhaps some people are assuming this is true, but we don't know. So I'm going to read off OneFootball now. There are reports flooding the internet coming from sources in Ukraine that Mikhailo Mudryk has failed a doping test. So Zoria Lodonsk is a Twitter account of 16,000 followers and has tweeted the news, quoting a Ukraine website, a Ukraine source, Tribuna.com, which has 29,000. OneFootball said they're awaiting confirmation from different sources. Both sites above refer to a banned substance, so it could be recreational or performance enhancing. I doubt it would be recreational for Mudryk. He's like a proper religious, God-fearing young man. If this was true, one would assume it would be performance, because he's all about performance. But excuse me, just burping into the microphone there. The winger has apparently seen his A sample, which is a type of sample, what you do when you're being tested, I guess. And just for context, when you get doping tests, for people who don't know, they still happen now all around football, where after a game, you will get randomly selected and held back to do doping tests, which is, I guess, urine tests or maybe swab tests or something. And sometimes you don't get on the same coach back with the other players. You got to wait for sometimes hours. Of course, this happened to Pogba. Pogba got banned for a long time. Other players have been historically. Sometimes you get flagged for a substance, like allegedly this situation, and it's an incorrect result, or it doesn't always mean that you've done something wrong, and there could always be grey areas, like you've taken a supplement that contains something that causes a reaction, okay. Yes, so the winger has apparently had his A sample flagged and now awaits the result of his B sample. There could be severe punishment, including a ban, if he is found guilty. The Premier League has been almost entirely clean in terms of performance-enhancing drugs, leading some to believe they are just looking the other way most of the time. Wow. Mudryk is known for being a bit of a gym rat and puts in a lot of workout-related content on his social media, which is hardly a smoking gun, but it's an unfortunate coincidence at best. Yeah, I feel uncomfortable with this. He likes to work out. The winger has been out of the Chelsea squad since being an unused sub against Aston Villa at the start of this month, December. Manager Enzo Maresca has repeatedly referred to him as being ill, which has started to feel more suspect after more than 2 weeks without an update. So I'm going to show you some tweets here. Reporting that this website's reporting that, as per the sources, Mudryk has tested positive for a doping test. The A sample was a banned substance, and the test was taken at the end of October. The B sample is also expected to be opened in the coming days. And yeah, this is coming from the Tribuna exclusive. So, yeah, apparently. Now, what I don't understand is if it's from an October sample, has it only just come back? Because I thought sometimes maybe you get held behind a long time because the process of testing itself takes a while to be processed before they've got all the tests they need, and then they let you go and maybe they process. I guess they process them. Because if this was found in October, that's 2 months ago, and he has played quite a few times in November, the following month of the test. I'm not entirely sure how it works in that sense, but that would imply that results had not have come back yet. I'm going to read the last paragraph of this and then give you my thoughts. This is, again, I don't like this. Let it be known on onefootball.com, I don't like how this is being portrayed. I don't feel comfortable with it. It's saying disaster transfer gets even worse. Mudryk has struggled since making his big money move from Shakhtar. A flash of quality on his debut has... But yeah, I'm not going to... Right, we need to firstly separate the player from the situation. Yes, it's been tricky. It needn't, this article, end like that. I think I've been very, very clear on my position on Mudryk. I think he's got really, really, really high ceiling in terms of what he could perform in terms of his raw ability, but I think he's severely undercoached. But his... and it's not just raw power, it's talent and instinct. We've seen him score wonder goals, and I referenced that goal that when he rounded the keeper, when he dribbled through people, when he robbed the ball off Gallagher. He's got that instinctive player. He's got a very strong finish, and he's a very fast ball carrier. He can sprint and stuff, and he's a good player. He's just... if you watch my channel, you will know I've expressed concerns that wondering if he'll make it. Not so much down to, it's largely about him being undercoached, but also in profile, if we're going to commit to current Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca, who looks like he's the business at the moment. His preferred type of wingers are of the kin of Sancho, Noni and Neto, which is sort of 1v1 wingers, and, less so Mudryk style. But that's a different thing. So we need to be mindful because this is a kid, right, who's clearly emotional, he's sensitive. Like I said, he's very, very religious. He seems quite shy and secluded, what we've learned about him. Although I think he's been accepted and he's friendly with the squad, he's not seemingly one of the boys. When we signed him, there was this idea that he wants to win the Ballon d'Or, that he just wants to be the best, and, he's got this sort of tunnel vision. So that's why perhaps people are making assumptions about this story being true. Again, it would be remiss not to bring up the circumstances in how this guy was signed. He was going to go to Arsenal. He wanted to go to Arsenal. He then wanted to go to Chelsea. He was convinced. And then, it was, speaking of disaster transfer, it was a disaster club for, the first 18 months or whatever it was at Chelsea. So the club has a big part to play in that as well, And, yeah, man, there is a horrible war going on in his home country, and the part of Ukraine he comes from was like the worst affected, man. So there's all this stuff that you've got to take into consideration. Now, that doesn't mean he's going to be inclined to, take banned substances, but I think he's a young guy. I'm 35 years old, mate. I was 23. I remember how, like, you know, unsettled I was in my life, and I know I'm not a footballer or whatever, but I'm just very, very mindful to just jump on this guy. I don't like the optics of these articles talking about disaster transfers and stuff, and yes, they were right to explain its allegations, but I guess this video is less me saying, oh, what happens now? He's been done for doping, because we don't know that's true. It's allegations. That, I guess the video is me very much asserting the fact how it's allegations, and also urging people just to not be really aggressive towards the situation, or, you know, and be just careful with their opinions and careful with how they navigate it. We'll see what happens if indeed it is true. Hopefully, he's looked after in the best way, and people might just be angry at him, but I'm sure everyone has their reasons for doing things. Fortunately for Chelsea, we're doing quite well at the moment, and it looks like we could comfortably survive without Mudryk. For one reason or another, like, you know, we've got 3 elite wingers, and to be honest, I've highly praised Tyreek George, the young academy winger, who can also play on both sides, like Neto, like Sancho, and Felix. We know Joao Felix can play on the left wing. Like, we are covered. We are covered. So it's going to be completely fine. Yeah, look, no me singing, no transitions, no plugs for subscribing, just a talk on this today. So, yeah, I'll see you back here soon. Peace.